All right. Good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it is to you guys.
Hmm.
Welcome to another episode of TnT Sports. It's been a couple weeks, but your host Ty and here with my man, the new daddy over here.
What's up, everybody?
So,
Yeah, my wife gave birth to our baby boy son, um, March 10th. Actually, it's been feels like it's been it's been a 2 months. It's only been a week and a half. So,
I know. And
but
congratulations,
yeah,
man.
pre,
Welcome to
pre,
fatherhood.
yeah, I appreciate it. And I know we have some topics to talk about, but
Yep.
when you're at home trying to watch March Madness, it was uneventful. But we'll talk about that.
No doubt. So yeah, we got a lot to discuss. It's been a couple weeks. So we got a few topics to talk about. First topic we're going to discuss today is March Madness. Talk about that. And if you guys remember, Thomas's final thought last time, you probably know where this is going. And then the next topic we have is NFL free agency, which has been tons since the combine was the last one we talked about. There's been tons of free agent moves or discussions and trades and stuff like that that's happened. And then last, we'll finish with our final thought for Thomas and myself. So first topic we're gonna get straight to it is about the NCAA March Madness, which started last week, and we are at this point in the Sweet 16. And so I'll let Thomas go ahead and start off about what your thoughts are on this March Madness thing that we've loved for so many years.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I remember being in Vegas, I was there for work and getting up early because you had to get up early in Vegas, the West Coast time,
Hmm.
getting ready, put your ticket together and watch the games and watch some nail biters. Can't say I enjoyed this one so far. And I just named some teams. I know you guys probably know at home, but San Diego State, Alabama, Princeton, Curtin, Florida Atlantic, Tennessee, Michigan State is staple. They're number seven. Kansas State is number three. Can you imagine Michigan State number seven, Kansas State number three? I mean, what
No.
what world are we living in? Xavier number three. I mean, Xavier's been good, but they were the number. Remember the 11th seed? They were always our
Hmm.
Cinderella team with
Yeah.
with undersized B more players or anybody from the DC DMV area.
Yeah.
Texas hasn't been good since Kevin Durant. But number two, apparently, and in Arkansas, which the coach took his shirt off, from winning a game. I don't.
Hey, his last
So,
name's
so good.
Muscleman, so last name's Muscleman, so he's like, I want to show you how muscle
Yeah.
I am.
So if you look at it, like if you actually look at it, you're like, oh, it's good. It's the Cinderella and all that. The nail biters, the Bryce Drew jump shot. That's not it. My dad is in town, as Ty alluded to earlier about I had my wife giving birth, and we're watching the game because obviously when you have a newborn child, you're not moving around too much. So we're
Right.
watching it, and we watched the Duke Tennessee game, and first off, my dad didn't even know Mike Krzyzewski retired. So he's like, "Who's this guy?" But he's like, "Okay, let me watch." He's like, "Is this Duke playing? Like, this is not a Duke that he watched with the Grand Hills and everything." And
Mhm.
my dad was like, he didn't even know these teams, St. Mary's. He was asking me, "Who are these teams?" We're watching a European Turkish level three team, right? It just wasn't. It's just not good bad. And then on top of
Mhm.
that, you're like, okay, well, a lot of upsets like Princeton won, and all these other, the upsets. Florida Atlantic. Okay, how do they're in there. It's just not good basketball. First off, the fundamentals, this is what I was saying. I'll let you get it to you, Ty, because it
Mhm.
just it just irritates me. So when I'm watching it, and you're watching it too, you
Mhm.
probably think we can go out there and hoop with them.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not trying to sound arrogant. Like you're like, and you're thinking like, is that me being arrogant or going through it? Because all they do is this: they shoot threes. They
Yep.
can't make layups. I mean, I've never seen so many missed layups in my life in this tournament. Fundamentals, the turnovers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just not good basketball,
Yeah.
right? The Purdue game. I
Oh my
mean,
gosh.
oof. If you guys want to see awful, that's just awful. That last 3 minutes was just absolutely awful basketball from Purdue, the Purdue side of it, right? So kudos for him for winning that. But
Oh yeah, Farley Dickinson.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Farley Dickinson. What
Yeah,
was
you
I?
don't know. Yeah, you're not gonna know the name. I barely. Only reason why I know the name is because I'm looking it up right
Who's?
now.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking about TCU and the other school. What was that Furman, right? Is that the other
Yeah,
school?
Furman. Yeah, Furman beat Virginia, and
Virginia, that's well, okay. So see, that's how bad it was. I forgot. But the last 3 minutes was bad, and then TC it's just not good basketball. I don't know if it's the AU circuit is losing players to yeah, I think they are to like the G League, right,
Mhm.
overseas, but these in Kentucky don't look good. It was just bad, man. But that's all I could say.
Yeah.
Bad basketball.
So yeah, I'm gonna confirm it. And actually, a
Mhm.
couple things. One, I went to a conference week, and I was in Orlando. It happened to be where the NCAA tournament was. So after the conference, went to the night game. So the two games I got to see was Duke versus Oral Roberts, which was a joke. Like Oral Roberts forgot that they were playing basketball, and Duke looked amazing. And then there was the Tennessee um Louisiana game. That Tennessee Louisiana game was painful to watch. It was like I think the final score was like 49 to 42. It's like this is horrible. Like no one can make shots. They're just out there running around, throwing the ball, turning it over, tripping over each other. I was like, man, I was like, I know Tennessee's defense is good, but wow, this is tough. But so the one thing that was very clear and that I noticed is Thomas alluded to it. These guys are not playing good basketball at all. Fundamentals are gone. People don't know how to do bounce passes. People don't know how to make shots when they're open. People don't know how to dribble the ball. It sounds crazy. They think they know how to dribble, but they can't even. They're dribbling the ball all high, and it's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
And so Saturday night, I mean, this sounds like it's against what I'm saying, but Saturday night I had tickets to the Wizards Kings game, so I got to see. Thursday night I was at two college games. And March Madness was an exciting thing, and then an NBA game. It was like night and day. It was like the NBA players were not both teams. It was like I wasn't watching basketball when I was watching the college team play versus NBA. People were actually passing to each other. People were making shots when they're open. People were actually setting picks and getting space. College is terrible. And so I got some stats for you. Purdue. You talked about Purdue, Farley Dickinson. Whoa, it's a great upset. Farley Dickinson's great. Or Purdue shot 35% from the field, 19 for 53. This is with a guy, Edie, who shot 7 for 11, who's actually, and he's like 7 feet tall, versus I
Mm-hmm.
think the tallest guy for Farley Dickinson is like 6'5". Okay, that's one. Two, they shot 19% from three. 19%. 5 for 26. So like Thomas says, I don't think I'm the greatest basketball player of all time, but I can go out there and miss shots. That doesn't take skill.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, put me out there. I can brick all day. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
is terrible. These are supposed to be the best players in college, and they stink. So so it's funny. I actually feel a little bit different than Thomas because, for one, I love basketball like he does. So I understand. I agree with him 100% on terms is terrible. But it actually has been entertaining, not because the basketball is quality, but because everyone is so bad that they're competing at such a high level. It's like playing a high level game of dodgeball or something like that. So at the end, like if I go watch my 7-year-old's basketball, it's not great basketball because they're little and they don't know how to play, but it's entertaining. Why? Because they're competing and they're hacking the heck out of each other and they're tripping all over the ball
Right.
and they're running up and down the floor. You're like, go, 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 go. But it's not basketball. It's not good. It's not quality. So March Madness, great. I hope everyone is enjoying all the quote unquote upsets. But here's a key part that we also didn't bring up really quick. These schools that are these low level schools, they have their players staying. So now
Right.
you got men playing with freshmen and one and dones. So that's also
Yep.
why there's an equalizer. So you could be Creighton, right? Who's got, or really it's like, yeah, Creighton. Their offense is incredible. They probably have the best offense I've seen in college. They got five guys that are all
Creighton,
double. Yes, five guys in double figures. They know how to pass. They can all hit shots. Like if you watched the game against Baylor yesterday, I felt bad for Baylor. They had no chance, no chance to win that game, none.
that was actually a decent game.
Yeah, the Baylor played well. It's just
That game.
Creighton knows how to play, and you know why they know how to play? Because they actually have veteran players. They have guys that have been there and have played. There's not one and doneers. They've committed to the school. They committed to basketball. They're learning how to play basketball. McDermott is a good coach. And so you start to see that versus like, Calipari getting the one and dones. He's not a bad coach, but he can't teach these kids. They want to get the NIL money. They don't want to play basketball. So anyway,
And if you don't play, and if they don't get burned anytime, right,
yeah.
they transfer. So
Yes.
that's yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens. My bracket is it's not completely busted. I actually still have my championship team, which I have Alabama, but I don't feel confident in anybody. I was just throwing darts. I had Alabama versus Texas in the finals. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, they'll probably both lose in the next round, and it'll probably be like Arkansas versus Florida Atlantic or something in the
Right.
championship game because these teams aren't good, which Thomas alluded to very well in his final thought last time about college basketball. So it's not good. So when it's not good, can't really predict. It seems like it's fun, but it's just terrible basketball. I blame the AAU circuit, by the way.
True. I
Yep.
mean, yeah. You got yeah. I mean, it's just bad. It's
Yeah.
really bad, but
Yeah, it is. But I'll be watching though, because I do love drama. All right, so enough with the kids, the college kids. On to the next topic, which is NFL free agency. So it's been going on since basically almost around the time Nahome was came around. It was
right.
March, was that March 10th it was the free agency
Yeah,
started
the
or
tampering.
yeah, the
Yeah, the
tampering
tampering.
thing, yeah. So it's been
Yeah.
going on for a bit and it's been pretty exciting with
Right.
some signings and stuff. So um I think we could just talk about it. So
Yeah.
you want to go ahead, I'll let you start and then I'll just chime in for what do you want to
Yeah.
talk about. There's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I'll start off with and to all our fans, I love the free agent game. Like I'm the type of guy that goes on NFL Madden, right? Madden
Hmm.
football and go franchise mode and signs players. But one thing I just want to just educate everybody. So during the pandemic, the NFL has some revenue stuff, so the salary cap was just kind of in flux, right?
Hmm.
So it was 209 million, or actually it was actually 195 million, and then it went up to 209. So what teams were doing were kind of hedging, right? So
Hmm.
they're hedging. And so a lot of people thought it was going to go up to 220. It's 225. Some people thought it was going to go up to 235, right? A little higher. Even some people thought it was 240, but
Mm.
NFL decided 225. So last year, you saw a lot of the big money going to wide
Hmm.
receivers. So before we break down NFL free agency it's for 2023, 2022, we started seeing a lot of wide receivers getting paid. I mean,
Hmm.
paid, right?
Yep.
Which is rare. And NFL,
Hmm.
one of the most disposable positions, right, was the wide receiver role. They're like, oh yeah, we
Right.
don't like you. Green Bay is a perfect example. They take people like Donald Driver, Greg
Hmm.
Jennings. They take guys who are like drafted or undrafted or drafted late and make them stars. But now teams
Right.
are like giving first round picks to Tyreek Hill and just you just need to spend money.
Right.
Shit, get a Kenny Galloway got 40-60 million dollars, and the
Yeah,
man
you
caught
did.
two passes, right? So this is what you got to see. We're seeing a lot of 1 year deals this year
Hmm.
because they're just kind of hedging in the free agency. But a few thoughts. I mean, I don't want to boil the ocean here, but
Mm.
so the first step I'll go to is the Broncos are the Broncos. They spent $218 million on three players.
Uh,
None of them went to Pro Bowl. What's the name?
Mike
McGlinchey,
McGlinchey.
sorry,
Yeah. Oof.
80 million. Ben Powers, 52 million. Zach Allen, which by the way, I think that's my sleeper pickup for any team. 3 or 45 million. I think Zach Allen was better than TJ Watt. A lot of people might not know who Zach Allen was. He played
Mm.
for the Arizona Cardinal.
Hmm.
Um, and he looked good, right? And then they got Alex Singleton at linebacker, right? So they spent $218 million. And I would say they overpaid, but that's the Denver Broncos. They have Sean Payton. They have no draft picks. Might as
Yeah.
well just spend the money. And then so you'll go over there. And then I would go with the next thing is I want to go with the winner, right? The winners of the draft. I'm sorry, winner of free agency is the Bears. Okay,
Yes.
first they traded their pick, and they got.
Yeah.
I still can't believe what they got
I
for
know.
the number one pick for a player that's not even Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, right? I like CJ
Right.
Stroud who's going to draft, but you traded a lot for a player that's, you don't know where they're going to
We don't
go.
even know. We don't even know if they're drafting him yet. We think
Yeah,
we're gonna
I
be
mean, it's
CJ Stroud. I mean,
yeah,
I should. I mean, me and you both agree that it should be CJ Stroud. But then I've been reading stuff that like, hey, well, there's still like, um, the Alabama kid.
yeah. So,
So
so technically, even though it's not free agent, they got
mhm,
DJ Moore, which
yeah,
I underrated. He doesn't get TDs. Trust me, I had him fantasy for 2 years in a row, but the guy gets yards.
yeah, it does.
And then they had, which I think is their best pickup was Nate Davis, right,
Hmm.
for the O lineman from Tennessee. Good
Yeah.
run. He's a great run blocker, so that's good for
Hmm.
them. And then they got TJ Edwards. And then out of nowhere, I mean, I don't know if they watched the Bills tapes, but they paid Tremaine Edmonds. Edmonds. I
Yeah.
mean, good for Tremaine Edmonds. Good for you, bro. I like you as a player, but $72 million for Mike linebacker.
Yeah.
And so, guys, if you guys don't know what the Mike is, Mike basically is the one that stops the run.
Hmm.
And Mike linebackers at NFL, like maybe the best Mike linebacker is Fred Warner, but he covers too, and
Yeah.
they play a 3-4 cover three. So he covers. Tremaine is not very good in his short yard coverage, unlike Fred
Mm.
Warner. He's somewhat good at the run, but he tackles too high. 6'5". He's one of those
Yeah.
like out. He's kind of your guy in Dallas.
Yeah. It's a tweener.
So yeah, which you saw his contract. So
Yeah.
so so so
Yeah.
so
No.
so they overpaid for that, but I get it. They wanted him, so that's a
Hmm.
winner.
Hmm.
And then I say another winner is Detroit Lions. The secondary needs some help. They got
Hmm.
Gardner Johnson today, and they
Yeah.
got Sutton. By the way, watch Cameron Sutton next year. I
Hmm.
think Cameron Sutton can be a Pro Bowler
Right.
in that system. And so then they're doing well. And other than that, like nothing really, I'll let you go, but there's nothing really that stood out that like was like any major moves. I mean, everyone's gonna talk about Jimmy G. My God, Jimmy G agent is the MVP. Man, this
Yeah, I was
man
gonna
gets
say.
contracts like it's
Yeah.
out of style. Like
Yeah.
so, like he's just got contracts, right? And then of course, and you probably touch on it. Lamar's the only one that's really the top
Hmm.
player that's
Hmm.
still. And I'll talk about that after. I'll let you talk about it,
Yeah.
but Lamar. But other than that, nothing exciting in the free agency.
No. So
So
yeah, I agree. Of course, the big thing is quarterbacks. That's what everyone wants to talk about. So the quarterback moves you mentioned, um, Garoppolo is going to the Raiders. I actually think it's a pretty good move, just because I don't think Garoppolo's a great quarterback, but I don't. They paid him more. I mean, for us, it's not my money, but they
right,
didn't pay
right.
him. They didn't have to pay. Excuse me, they didn't have to pay him, you know, $30 million. They paid him 67 million over 3 years. So it's 22 and a half
Mhm.
a year. That's not bad for to get for a starter. And then you can actually draft a quarterback still. Like it's a good salary where you can draft a quarterback. Plus he's already familiar with um, you know, what's his face? Quarterback. I mean the
Oh,
coach.
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels, yes, Josh McDaniels system. So I think that's cool. Um, David Carr, this guy he signed with the Saints.
Yeah,
I like David Carr, but I don't, he's not like you said, it's not earth shattering. But
yeah, Derek Carr can kick rocks,
Derek Carr,
honestly.
yeah, Derek Carr,
Well, no,
sorry.
no, he reminds you of David
Yeah,
Carr.
he
I
did
get
remind
it.
me of David Carr.
So,
Sorry, David Carr is
don't,
yeah, David Carr was for people that don't know, he was the quarterback for the Houston Texans, and he is on NFL Network, and he talks about his brother like he's still in the league. So that's why I said David Carr. Sorry,
right.
but Derek Carr, um, he 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 is probably the best quarterback in his division now, which isn't saying much, but their quarterbacks last year were Andy Dalton, Jameis for like a game or two when he was healthy, and Taysom, what's the name? Whatever it
Taysom
is,
Hill.
Hill. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but Taysom Hill. So he's a huge upgrade from them, like huge. To, and their defense is Super Bowl defense. Last
Oh
year, I mean,
yeah,
they
yeah.
they are elite at that end, but they were losing games. I remember they lost to San Francisco 13-0. You can't score a point in NFL, 13 zip. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but they were just, I mean, and, San Francisco was scoring 40 something points a game or whatever. They couldn't do a thing.
Right.
They went and beat Philly in Philly last year. Like, so th- they might be a team in NFC, which is pretty weak. That might help. Now, now there's a couple other QB signings I thought that are a little under the radar. Mike White to the Dolphins sounds dumb, but Tua, eh,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, he's one concussion away, so you kind of need to get,
Uh-huh.
some comparable backup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do think, of course, the biggest one was Daniel Jones re-signed for 4 year, 160 mil. His
And
agent needs, yep, his agent needs a raise too,
well,
because
he fired his agent, got a new
yes,
one.
exactly, and that's why whoever that new agent is did great job. He's like, look, man, I got you. I'll get you this money. Um, the Eagles, interestingly enough, they signed Marcus Mariota as a backup. Think that's not actually a bad little signing. Um, and Sam Darnold somehow keeps with a job. He's
San
with
Fran.
San Fran. It's gonna be interesting because he's gonna. It's like weird. Like
On the
Purdy's
West
not gonna
Coast.
be ready. We'll see with with the quarterback they drafted last time. Um, I don't know. So it's interesting. And Geno Smith got a nice. He re-signed his 3 year, 75 mil. And Baker Mayfield probably is going to be the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that's very, very interesting. So we couldn't stop without saying, I mean, I'm trying to not be a homer, but I have to talk about the Cowboys really
Yeah, I'm
quick.
gonna talk about the Bills. Don't worry.
Yes.
Now,
So,
before you go to Cowboys, we did forget Juwan Hardgrave, or yeah,
oh,
signing,
Hargrave, yes, yes,
which is that should have been illegal. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that was ridiculous, man.
Javon, yeah, yeah. But you could
By
talk
the
about
way,
the
oh
Cowboys.
yeah, before we go to the Cowboys, I do want to talk about um the Jawan Taylor signing from Kansas City Chiefs.
No, I was trying to skip because it was awful.
I
But go
know
ahead.
it was awful, and that's what I'm saying. We talking about good stuff. That was awful. Like this guy is like, I mean, what was he ranked as a
20,
right tackle?
25th tackle. Like I don't even tackle. I
This
need to
guy got
write.
4 year, 80 mil when you already had Orlando Brown. You're like, man, I don't want to pay him. What? Like,
And,
what are you doing? I don't understand it. Maybe they know something we don't know because these guys get paid to do it, and we just sit here and scrutinize. But I think that was a reach, personally.
and and he's a right tackle, Ty. They're going to move him
Yeah.
to left. So
Oh
you,
gosh, it's gonna be great. Well, hey, hope for the best.
right,
Patrick
right.
Mahomes
And
is
then
like
speaking
this.
of Orlando Brown, I mean the Bengals.
The Bengals, the
I think he's very overrated, but that's besides the point. I think the scheme helped him. We'll see what
four
happens.
year 64 mil. You
It was
pay
a
this
good
guy
deal.
4 year 80 mil.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't think he's better. There's nothing
But
that showed that he's better, or nothing, not one thing that said that this guy is better than Atlanta Brown.
the
And you
only
paid
thing
more money. He's just
he's
younger.
he's a better run blocker. That's the only thing. But he plays right tackle, so it's different.
So that's gonna be interesting. So anyway, real quick. Also, I did, and I apologize by this, guys. One thing that we forgot to mention about free agency that is different in the last couple years than it has been in the past is that free agency is actually before the draft. That's not how it used to be. It used to
Very
be the
true.
draft and then free agency. So why is that significant? You might look at your teams if you are an NFL fan and be like, well, why are they not getting X? Or why are they overloading on X? Um, that's because Now you can actually tell by the free agent moves what your team's going to focus on in the draft. And I say this as a Cowboys fan because of what we've done. So we franchised Tony Pollard as a broken leg. Good thing we did that. We re-signed Donovan Wilson, which I was extremely excited about. He is like our utility, you know, safety, and so we needed him. We got Leighton Vander Esch back, which he started playing better at the end of the year. He's very Tremaine-ish, right?
Yeah,
But we got a good deal, 2 years, 11 mil. He realized as he probably went on the market and looked, he's like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna get that much money. So I'm happy we got him for cheap. CJ Goodwin was great. And Cooper Rush, which sounds like a stupid thing. I mean, clearly he showed as a backup. 2 years, 6 mil. So, Dak, we'll see what happens, buddy. We got this guy for it on the cheap. But
right.
the best thing that's happened is that we made 2 trades. Now, are these game changing like Dallas is now the best team in the league trades? No. But we have been dying. We need a second corner back badly. I don't need you to be the greatest cornerback in the league. I just need you to be competent. Getting Stephon Gilmore for a 5th round pick, I mean, he's going to be on the side. Like, that was the best thing that we could do. He doesn't have to be
That was a
a
good.
lockdown corner. He's our second corner. We just need our second corner to not be a bum. Like,
Right.
that's all we need. We got enough pass rush. We got good, safeties and linebackers. We just need our second corner to not be Anthony Brown and get destroyed. And then we got to trade for Brandon Cooks. He's an upgrade at the wide receiver position. However, it's very interesting to me that we decided to trade for Brandon Cooks when we had Amari Cooper, who's clearly a better wide receiver than Brandon Cooks. And I don't think that Amari Cooper is the greatest wide receiver of all time, but he's better than Brandon Cooks.
Yeah,
So, to your point, Thomas, earlier, this is because of last year. So, and these teams are starting to learn a little bit because we had paid Dak so much money, because we had Zeke gave him so much money, we could not get Amari Cooper. And so instead of having Amari Cooper this year for a deal that is pretty much the same as Brandon Cook's deal, we can't do it. So now we have to trade for Brandon Cooks because that was a mess up last year. Which if we would have had Amari Cooper last year, we probably would be in at least the NFC Championship game because we would have had
yeah,
a competent receiver.
yeah.
So um, I'm happy, but what this is telling me because we don't have Zeke anymore. And Zeke, love you, man. I would love Zeke to come back for a 1 year, $1 million because he's got plenty of our money, Dallas's money, so he would be completely fine with that. But that's probably not going to happen. But what this means is we're drafting a running back. I'm gonna tell you now. It's probably Bijan. We might trade up to get him, and if not, it's gonna be Gibbs. We're gonna get one of these running backs in the first 2 rounds. So people that like the Cowboys, be prepared. Jerry's gonna get one of these splashes. And that's what this free agency has taught me. So
Yeah.
that's it about
Well,
that.
let me just add something because for my Bills fans out there,
Yep.
the Bills had to restructure a bunch of contracts.
Hmm.
I'll be honest with you, I'm a little worried about Stephon Diggs. With all, I don't know, he was on a shop, he just talking. I don't know, it just seemed a
Yeah.
little odd, but he was able to restructure, so that was a good thing, right? So I was worried,
Hmm.
but now he's restructured. So they got your guy from Dallas, Connor.
Connor
So
McGovern,
McGovern. Yep.
good
So
player. Good
yeah,
player.
he is. I like him. But I don't know if he's gonna play left or right guard, but I like it.
Hmm.
But so I'm like, what the Bills doing? Connor, okay, you lost. We'll see what they do in linebacker. And then they got Kyle Allen, which I really didn't give two shits about. And
Yeah.
then for some reason, Bills love special teams players. I
I
don't know
know.
why they sign all the special teams players. Um, then I saw today, I'm like, I was feeding my son. I was like, man, this Bills haven't done shit, right? So like, so I was like, oh, Trent. So they signed a wide receiver. Oh, I'm sorry, they had. I actually like the wide receivers. They had Hardy, right?
Yeah.
You guys might know him as Dante Harrison, right? That was his name before, right? Before he,
Yeah, I don't remember what his
yeah,
name was, but
whatever.
he
He's short
changed it.
dude.
Yeah.
He's better than McKenzie, who can't catch, anything, a cold in the winter. And then I was like, all right, what are the Bills going to do? They try to get Jamal Williams, and Jamal Williams, for some reason, said no to them. And then I saw the contract, so he must have not liked Buffalo. I mean, what was it, 3 years, 18 million? They couldn't afford that. I mean,
Yeah, I don't
so
get it.
and then they got Damien Harris, who I was like, oh, okay. So And to be very, very honest with everybody, and my friend Chris, I think I was talking to him about this. One of my buddies, I was like, I would love Damian Harris in Buffalo. I just didn't think it's gonna happen. So I was like, if when I looked at the free agents market, I was like, okay, Jamal Williams, cool, but he's not really the best catcher out of the backfield, right?
Yeah.
Damian
Yeah.
Harris could take a 2 yard catch and be zigzagging. And then he went, and especially he had 900 yards and 15 touchdowns. But for some reason, he was in Bill Belichick's,
Yeah.
doghouse. I don't know why he
I
wasn't in
don't
the
either.
doghouse. He got hurt. His hamstrings are not the nicest, but
Yeah.
I don't
I'm gonna tell you why I'm annoyed by that because he was on my fantasy team. He was one of my keepers, and I'm like, this guy gets touchdowns and he gets 5 yards of carry. Give him the ball. He's like, nope, Ramondre, Ramondre. Like, you're not
yeah.
winning games. When you put Damian Harris in the game, you win games because he gets you touchdowns. But now he's on Buffalo.
Was Yeah, and I personally think sometimes Bill Belichick does that to players so their stock can go down and he can pay them under a little lower. That's just, you maybe
Mm.
call me conspiracy theorist, but
That's a good
so
thought.
then when the Bills got him, honestly, I was good. They got an O line, they got a because with the Mike linebacker, I don't want to get into
Yeah.
like too much analytics of football, but guys, do me a favor because sometimes we get on the show and we get a little nerdy and analytics and talk about it.
Right.
But do me a favor. Look up Mike's, the middle linebacker. Look up Mike
Mm.
linebackers in the NFL. You're going to find a handful of first round picks. And most of the handful of first round picks are not even that great.
Mm.
Devin White was supposed to be the truth. He looked very off last year. His colleague that got cut, David, right, was a second
Mm-hmm.
round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Warner, fourth. Bobby Taylor, second. I can go down a list of people. Luke Wilson, number three. Matt Milano, well, he's actually off the ball linebacker, but he's the guy. Another one, Patrick Quinn, first round pick. Mike, not doing not
Mm-hmm.
Patrick. I'm sorry, Patrick Queen.
Oh, Quinn.
So
Yeah.
Patrick Queen,
Yes. Yeah.
Patrick.
From yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So another one, first round pick. Another first round pick. He actually left the Steelers because they didn't want him.
Mm-hmm.
Bush, Devin Bush. He was a 10th
Yeah.
pick. They traded up for him.
Yeah.
So a lot of the Mike linebacker position is not it's easy. Unfortunately, it's easy. It's an easy place, easy position to replace. So I'm
Yeah.
glad they didn't pay him. But so Buffalo needs to fill that void
Yeah.
with that. But you can fill it with David Long. He's on with Miami. That was a good pickup. And then the last point we forgot to mention. I can't believe we didn't even talk about it. Was Jalen Ramsey getting traded to the Dolphins?
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say that.
But
Yeah.
he's washed, so we're good. We'll move on. He's no he. No, he didn't look. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, he looked terrible last year. I mean, absolutely. Do you see what
Yeah.
his quarterback rating was against him last
Yeah.
year?
It was
It
not
was
the
bad,
greatest.
bro.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest. But
Yeah,
they and that's we didn't mention that team because they made a lot. They've made a lot of moves this offseason. I don't know how great. I mean, that one was it's significant, but we'll see, right?
who you talking about, Dolphins?
Yeah, the Dolphins are trying to make a lot of moves, but
They
yeah, I
also
don't know.
lost Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
did. They did, and I didn't
uh,
see them like really replace. I mean, Garen Christian, I don't even know who he is really.
mm,
So they signed. I I don't know.
yeah,
We'll see. We'll see. I think again, and it's funny. I usually, we scoff at the media. They did say the same thing that I'm about to say. Doesn't matter what the Dolphins do. It's about the quarterback. If
yeah,
Tua is the quarterback, I mean, then they are going to be decent. Their defense wasn't terrible, but
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
um,
And we don't, and on purpose, guys, you're probably like, oh, they're missing a topic on
yeah.
purpose. I'm not talking Aaron Rodgers. I
Thank
just
you.
want,
I'm glad.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad. See,
I'm good.
this why you're my boy. I literally was about to end it with that too. I'm
Eh,
like, we're purposely not talking about Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers watch. Let's see where he's going. Is he's going in the silent home? I don't care about that, man. Go ahead, go to the washed up Jets and be Brett Favre 2.0 because you hated him so much. Now you're gonna be him, and you're still not gonna win. You're still not gonna win AFC. Like, come on, Aaron Rodgers. I love him as a talent, overrated in terms of production and the core and in terms of winning.
Playoffs.
Yes.
Uh,
One miraculous six seed run. And people forget. Oh, the Packers are great. No, they're the sixth seed, had a miraculous Eli Manning type run to
right.
the Super Bowl. And since then, never been back, and had home
Yeah.
field in the NFC Championship game multiple times and choked it away. So go to the Jets, choke it away there, but at least the Jets will be relevant, and people like Mike Greenberg can talk about them. So, all right. Good for Mikey. All right, man. Well, plenty. I'm sure there's other topics that people want to talk about, but we are good with NFL. There'll be more to come. Um, so we are going to finish off with our final thoughts. So, um, do you want me to start? I guess I can
Yeah, you
go
can
real
start off.
quick. I'll start
Yeah.
really quick. All right, this won't be a long one. So, Thomas and I and some other people are Syracuse basketball fans, and over the last uh, couple of weeks, there's been a significant move where our beloved Jim Boeheim has retired. So sad. Not at all. Not sad at all. Okay, I'm just gonna say straight up. I text. I was like, "Oh, he's gone." I'm doing cartwheels. I'm breakdancing, and this is not any disrespect to Jim Boeheim because yes, he has been there for 40 something years. Syracuse has been relevant. We would not be Syracuse basketball without him. But the guy should have been retired a long time ago. Okay. What he's done to, what he's done there the last few years is almost criminal. I mean, he brought his sons there. His son was like a seventh year senior. He went to
Right.
junior college, another
Right.
college, community college transfer, just so he can get to. I was like, what is happening now? What happened to Syracuse that was a top recruit place, one of the destinations to go to? There's nothing like playing in the Carrier Dome. There's no other venue in sports and college sports like that. You have 35,000 fans to come watch a basketball game. He was losing all of that. And so I want to thank him, but I'm looking forward to Adrian Autry. And even if they struggle, I'm okay with them struggling. They just need to move forward. Jim Boeheim was the last of his era. You start to think about it, not only he's the last people that was, coaching, he's one of the last people to be alive. It tells you how long is John
Right.
Thompson gone, you know, um, Dean Smith gone. So I'm happy that he left. Probably not the best way is, but time to go. And I'm looking forward to Adrian Autry starting off the Syracuse thing, and I will be hoping to be seeing a game with them next year. So go Cuse. All right.
All right. Well, all right. Well, there was a few things I want to talk about. I know you know, we'll talk about it next time, about the high school basketball, some players getting some hype. But I do want to talk about John Morant. All right. So,
Hmm.
and if you guys don't know that he was suspended for 8 games, he's been in some legal trouble. Apparently he altercation with a 17-year-old, 17-year-old kid. Then he was drunk, flashing his gun on Instagram. So he entered the program. I think it's called the Return of Competition Reconditioning or something, yeah, whatever the NBA called it. That's the NBA terminology for 8 games, right? So, and the funny part, Ty, he's not even in Vegas. This usually happens to Vegas players, right?
I
The
know.
Vegas is where all the players, getting DWIs and unfortunately get show guns and get cut. So John Morant, first thing, where are you from again, sir? You are
South
from
Carolina.
Dalzell, South Carolina, where Ray Allen's from.
Yeah.
You're not from the hood. You're from the country. I'm not saying country people
Yeah.
can't be hood, but you're not even about that life, man. Your father played basketball at a college. Your mom was a softball player. You had a two-home family. You weren't in College Park, ATL. You weren't down there. You weren't in Memphis in the hood, like real Memphis, right?
Hmm.
You had a pretty good upbringing. And you went to Murray State. Like, I mean, I get you got bypassed and everything like that, but that's not who you are, young buck. You're not a thug. You don't need to be a thug. You just got to
Yeah.
play basketball, right?
Got
You
millions
got
of
to play
bucks.
basketball. You're not, I don't understand why you're Instagram. I don't know what's going on with these young kids. Got a show on Instagram, and it's too much of what I call people are. I personally think it's because they're the wrong people All right.
Hmm.
So his crew, and it also his father is his friend, not his father.
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith talked about this. I can agree with him even more. Is
Hmm.
like, sometimes you just got to be a role model, like a father, like, smack him around, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But that's just not who you are. You're a great basketball player. You probably would be one of the highest paid basketball players when you're a free agent. MVP, future Hall of Famer, the route you were going to. But you got mad at a 17-year-old kid at a Foot Locker or whatever that you're flashing guns on Instagram because somebody's talking trash. Like, what are you doing? But like,
Yeah, I know.
just come on, man. Like, somebody needs to talk to him. I think
Yeah.
the NBA did a job. The NBA didn't do the best job of handling it, but I get they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? So, what can you do? They have a program that I didn't even know about called competition like reconditioning or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. Something that they probably made up for him. Who knows? Or it's from other players, right?
Hmm.
So John Morant, what you got to do is focus on basketball. You might have to look at your crew, and you might not have the right people around. And his father, I'm not telling you how to raise your son or anything, but this is where I, Michael Beasley is a perfect example of it. Michael Beasley was one of the best basketball talents I've ever watched, right? But
Hmm.
the man couldn't stop smoking weed. So he just couldn't he couldn't stop smoking weed.
Yeah.
He wasn't coming to practice. He had his God. I'm not trying to compare them like their careers, but I'm just talking about how like if you go the wrong direction, what can
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
What could happen to you, right? So what happens if John Morant like gets a major injury? And then
Yeah.
why would they be loyal to you, right? You're a PR disaster.
Yeah.
Um, you know, the NBA is already looked at as bad thugs. I mean,
Hmm.
the bad thugs and the teams, right?
Hmm.
With all the drama and all of those stuff. So you're just not helping the image, right? So
Facts.
again, Ray Allen's from the same city as you. So you
Well, for him, he must have been watching Hustle and Flow a lot because he's from Memphis, It's hard out
yeah,
there for a pimp. Hard out there for a pimp.
right. Absolutely, yeah, and yeah, it is hard but I just don't understand. What I don't understand about these young players, him especially,
Yeah.
like you're already in the media in 2002. You're indicted for that incident, 17-year-old
Hmm.
kid, and in Foot Locker, whatever other incident, there's some other incident he dealt with. Like, why did you pull up your phone and shot? It just don't make no damn sense, right?
You're also missing the thing where he pointed the gun, him and his crew pointed the gun at the Indiana players, remember after the game?
Oh
You
yeah,
heard
like
about that?
this, yeah, 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 yeah.
Outside
Yeah, oh
the
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. You're
Oh, go
not
ahead.
Eli, buddy. Like you're like, I don't know. I honestly, I really, really think he was in Memphis. He got his crew. He might have some cousins out there, like
Oh yeah.
really about the life,
Yeah.
and just
Oh,
the way it looked. But this is where, his father just has to like take a step back and say, am I being too much of a friend instead of like a father?
right.
Because he need to get his ass whooped. That's what he need to
Facts.
do.
No, I
Yeah,
agree.
so. All
Yeah,
right.
well, I hope.
Hopefully he comes back against the Rockets. So hopefully, he does well.
Of course, because you want to make sure the Rockets draft status continues to drop, right?
Yeah, yeah. We need
I
we
know
need
what's
we need
what's up with your Rockets winning games now? I just keep looking. I'm like, the Rockets winning games? Don't they know they're trying to get the Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah, I know. Well, knowing our luck, we get the first round pick. We had the best chances and it'll be fifth pick. But yeah, well, I'm actually we're going on a different topic, but I'm actually happy with the Rockets. We'll talk about it maybe next
Yeah,
episode. But Jalen Green finally hooping. I'm like, buddy, like where has this been at?
yeah,
so
he at 40, he
so
dropped a 40 piece yesterday. I was like,
yeah,
ooh, scoring's pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah. This is what the Jalen Green I was waiting for. But we'll talk about that more, guys,
Yeah.
next week.
All right. Well, thanks, man. Thanks, Tom, for jumping on. Thank you all for listening. Please like, subscribe to this, and also like them because we don't, if you guys don't like them, we don't know you're watching it and liking it. So we would really appreciate you doing that. And we will talk to you next time. All right. Take care.
All right, take care, guys.